It has now been a couple of days since Roe v. Wade and Casey were overturned by the Supreme Court. And the left is losing its collective mind, and they don't know what they're actually losing their mind about. You know, maybe it's a bit too, I'm generalizing too much when I say that. Certainly there are people on the left who understand what the ruling means on Roe v. Wade. But you look at these people protesting, they don't get it. They're losing their minds. Billy Joe Armstrong tells British crowd he's renouncing U.S. citizenship after Roe repeal. He's lying. I do not believe him. This man, I am willing to bet, is a liar. Now, he said he's going to move to the UK. There's a good possibility he's not lying. I'll say that. But I just believe that the greater probability is he's not going to do anything. He goes on stage and he goes, virtue signals, screams his mind, screams his little heart out, and then nothing's going to change. Why would you want to get rid of U.S. citizenship? I mean, it's a good thing. Now, granted, maybe he doesn't want to pay taxes anymore. Because if you, the way I understand it is if you live somewhere else, like you live in the UK, you pay them taxes and then you pay the difference to the United States. So you renounce your citizenship. You can still come here. You can't work here. What does he care? But I'd have to imagine it's just not something he can do. And I feel like what he's doing here contributes to the psychopathy that is the current state of of Western culture, of the United States. And it's not just him, of course. We have a bunch of tweets from our good friends over at Libs of TikTok, and we have Cassandra Fairbanks and Ian Miles Chung. The reaction to Roe v. Wade being overturned is something. I'll play for you these videos. Are these people okay? Ask Ian Miles Chung. I want to show you. Look at liberalism as a mental disease is trending. Wow. In this video, there's a woman clearly performing. Clearly. And that's the thing I want to explain. That shows that almost all of this, in my opinion, is performative, it's fake, and they're just pretending to be angry. I'm starting off with this because there's a lot of news that suggests civil war. I know, here we go. You guys are all going to comment. Everybody take a drink or whatever because I said it. Stephen Marsh, who wrote the book, The Next Civil War, writes a very, very interesting article for The Guardian saying with Roe v. Wade being overturned, we are moving towards civil war. Of course, his framing is all against the right. And the funny thing is, yeah, there are elements of the right that are violent. But come on, Stephen. How many pregnancy centers were vandalized? How many had fire bombs thrown at them? It's remarkable that Brian Stelter comes out and says the risk of political violence is here. Look at all these right-wingers. And we shouldn't just point at the other side because that makes it worse. I just love the paradox. That's exactly what you are doing, Brian. How many pro-life politicians or pregnancy centers were attacked by extremists? I didn't see any pro-lifers go and firebomb people. And they're like, but protesters showed up to a drag queen story hour. Okay. Far left protesters showed up to a women's sporting event in D.C. Nobody was screaming that there was a threat of violence. These people have lost their minds. But the reason I'm not going to start with that is because there's a much bigger story involving high-level politics, the DOD, the DOJ, the president. We're going to do a longer segment on that for my main segment, which would be, if you're listening to the podcast, you heard that first. But I want to read this story about Billy Joe, and I want to show you some of these comments. And I'm going to tell you these people are pretending. They are pretending. It is fake. They are not angry. You have a combination of people who are too stupid to know what's going on, and thus they're just screaming in rage because stupid people, easily enraged, when you lie to them, they believe the lies. And then you have people like, well, I'll put it this way. The stupid people are duped by people like Billy Joe. He's a performer. He's going on stage and entertaining a British crowd. I'm going to renounce my citizenship. There's a Simpsons joke where there's a band, I think it was Spinal Tap, is playing it in Simpsons, and they're like, how's it going? And he looks at the back of his guitar, Springfield, like he doesn't actually know where he is. And people always, the bands always say, this is the best town we've ever played in. And everyone's like, yeah, that's what it is. The stupid people who hear this go, yeah, and then they get angry too. The stupid people are all going on social media and sharing stupid people videos to other stupid people, and they don't know anything about Roe v. Wade or Casey for that matter, and they don't know what they're protesting. Let me prove it. I'd like to show you a tweet from myself. I tweeted, SCOTUS has ruled that the federal government has no authority over women's bodies. A huge win for liberals. Yeah, look at 5,000. Everybody's losing their minds. One person responded, I don't think they see it that way. They rather be ruled over at the will of the government. Okay. The Supreme Court ruling basically said that we do not have the authority in this matter over women's bodies. That currently, the federal government does not. The federal government can, however, to elaborate on this, assert that authority through Congress. Now, I don't get that many characters on Twitter, so I just made the simple point. They keep going out and screaming, government out of my body. And the federal government just ruled we have no say in this. Why are they mad? Did they not realize what they were asking for? That the federal government did assert authority over women's bodies, ruling on how and what the medical procedures can be provided or whatever, setting limitations on what can be done. It's going to the states now. Now, I get it. They're saying we should be able to do what we want with our doctors without interference from anyone. The issue is you needed the federal government to assert its authority over the states and you. In that instance, they said you can. That's them asserting their authority, putting restrictions in place. Now, the inverse of that position would be if the Supreme Court said a fetus is alive, therefore you cannot ever get an abortion. That's the pro-life version. This is what they don't understand. The pro-choice version of the Supreme Court precedent was Roe v. Wade. The pro-life version doesn't exist. That would be the Supreme Court saying you cannot end the life of a human being. Abortion is outlawed in this country under existing rules. Instead, they came out and said, we do not have the authority. It returns to the states or to Congress to assert that authority. Well, okay. Because the federal government is stepping away from this, it now means different jurisdictions will have different rules. They don't know that. They don't realize my body, my choice. It's okay. The federal government will absolve itself of responsibility in this matter. No, we need you to assert that you agree with us. That's what they don't get. We had a progressive on Timcast IRL, and I said, Twitter banning people for saying, okay, dude, and having trans rules is a pro-left bias. And that taking that rule away is not a pro-right-wing bias. He's like, yes, it is. I'm like, no, it isn't. A pro-right-wing bias would be saying you cannot use preferred pronouns. Instead, all we're getting is conservatives saying the rules should be neutral, and the left saying the rules should favor us. If that's the dichotomy, then what happens is we'll compromise. The rules slightly favor the left. Now everyone's happy. No, because the right never actually advocates for what their position is. Not always, but, I come out and I say, we should repeal all gun laws. All of them. They're all infringements. And then maybe you'll get a compromise where it's like, okay, we'll be neutral. Instead, the right asks for neutrality. The left asks for favors. So you go halfway. And this is what I tell people when the right comes out on Twitter and they're like, Elon Musk said, we need a solution that keeps everyone happy, which means both sides will lose in this. Yeah, but when Republicans are saying give everyone free speech, including the left, and the left says ban Republicans, then Twitter says, okay, we'll meet halfway and we'll ban some of the Republicans. Well, there you go. This is the point. The federal government asserted a neutral approach, and the left is furious about it. The right pro-lifers want abortion totally banned. They didn't even get that. Here's Billy Joe. Let me show you what he said, and then I'll show you these videos. Greenday's Billy Joe Armstrong told a British crowd that he's renouncing his American citizenship, and he's probably lying to rile up a crowd. Performing at the London Stadium on the band's Hella Mega Tour with Fall Out Boy and Weezer on the night of the court decision, the American idiot singer said, F America, I'm effing renouncing my citizenship. I'm effing coming here. There's just too much effing stupid in the world to go back to that miserable effing excuse for a country. As for whether he'd actually moved to the UK, he insisted, oh, I'm not kidding. You're going to get a lot of me in the coming days. Okay, maybe. I'd be surprised. Every single person was like, if Donald Trump is elected, I'm leaving this country. Bro, you could have left a long time ago and you didn't do it. More importantly, Roe v. Wade returns the decision to the states. In California or New York or wherever, I think he lives in California, nothing is going to change. Not a thing. In fact, I'm wrong. The Democrats are probably going to codify an expansion of abortion in their states. And the Supreme Court's like, don't look at me. I don't believe there's a strong probability that should Republicans win in November, they will enact nationwide abortion bans. It's possible, but I don't think very likely because, as I mentioned, Republicans don't advocate on the extreme end for what they actually want. They say the states should do it. Okay, so Republicans who are pro-life, because not every Republican's pro-life, most of them are. You're saying abortion is murder or abortion is wrong, but you're going to allow it in other states. Right. The compromise was Roe v. Wade. You get that, right? Where you don't get unfettered abortion, but it's some restrictions. At the band's Saturday night gig in Huddersfield, England, Armstrong continued to lash out at SCOTUS, saying, F the Supreme Court of America, prior to performing American Idiot, and he is one. Armstrong isn't the only American artist currently, across the Atlantic, condemning the assault on abortion access. I just got to say, it's really funny. Assault on abortion access. Assault on. The Supreme Court absolving its responsibility in the matter means Congress needs to codify this. They couldn't do it. Why? They tried to codify an expansion, and Joe Manchin said no. That's it. The Democrats could come out with an actual codification of Roe v. Wade, in which Joe Manchin would probably agree with, and they'd probably get by on a 50-50 vote with a tiebreaker from Kamala Harris, but they didn't do that. What they did was they tried to enact a bill which would have nullified over 500 laws in various states. That's not a compromise. It's an expansion. The Democrats love this. They're already fundraising, and they're lying. It's hilarious. They're saying things like, we gotta get out there and vote, everybody, because, you see what happened. This midterm is so important. Voting in this midterm will not change what just happened. Now, to be fair, there's a possibility the Republicans win, and then they'll try to pass a nationwide abortion ban. But Joe Biden has veto power, and there is zero possibility of a veto-proof majority. In fact, there is zero possibility of a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. Therefore, quite literally, Democrats, you cannot change this right now with a vote. Still, I recommend every Democrat, every Republican, go out and vote for what you believe in. The Democrats, of course, are trying to use this, but they're lying to you. I still think you should probably vote for what you believe in if you're a Democrat or Republican. Libertarian or otherwise. For me, I'm looking. This midterm will be important in terms of investigations. If you want Joe Biden to stay in office and you don't want his son investigated, well, then vote for Democrats. And if they retain the House and the Senate, there you go, you win. It is fair to say there is a possibility of changing this if they can somehow get. Look, let me put it this way. Republicans are not going to get a veto-proof majority. Republicans are not going to get a filibuster-breaking majority. So you're not going to see a ban at the federal level on abortion. That being said, Democrats also won't be able to accomplish those goals. It's not possible. And they will not be able to break a filibuster to codify Roe v. Wade. It's just not going to happen. So a bunch of other people said some dumb things. Here we go. Let me show you this. Are you ready for this? Please, you may want to cover your ears.
Let it out.
I don't know if you can actually hear that. She's screaming. Man, this stuff's so weird. Why is this woman screaming? This is a question I have. A serious question. Comment below. Let me know what you think. This woman just says, let it out, and starts screaming at the top of her lungs. Why? So there are some things that I am concerned about when it comes to Civil War and sweeping precedent. I think Loving v. Virginia was correct, and I think it fits the letter of the law. I believe there's no constitutional backtracking of this. The idea is you can't discriminate against a person based on, you can't bar people of interracial marriages. You can't bar interracial cohabitation and things like that. That's not the same as abortion. Abortion is a medical procedure. Abortion is terminating the life of a fetus. Quite literally, the CDC defines it that way. I'm not trying to be cute. The CDC says an abortion is a procedure to terminate a pregnancy in a way that does not result in a live birth. Okay. That, I can understand, is not in the Constitution. But all men being created equal, which we understand to mean all people, that I get. So if you live in one of these states that's going to pass these restrictions, move. This is what I don't understand. If you live in New York and you want to ban all of the guns, you can't. The Constitution supersedes that. You can't do it. You can't infringe upon the rights of individuals. Abortion is not in the Constitution. Do you want it to be? All right. Pass a constitutional amendment to put it there. Here we go. You ready for this one? Okay, this is performative. Let me show you this. Okay, she's screaming profanities. Okay, here's what I want to point out. In the beginning, she's looking at someone who's filming her. You can see their reflection. They're holding up a camera and filming her do this. In the end, when she's done screaming, there's a small second where she just stops. It's performative. Someone's filming this. They planned this out. She's not, she's probably perturbed or angry because she's probably not a smart person. But the screaming that she's displaying, not real. She didn't see the news and start breaking down, freaking out and screaming. These people have set up their cameras. Now, the funny thing is, in this one, this lady who's screaming goes, yeah, I'm going to do the dishes now. And I'm like, this has got to be a joke. For real, I'm going to call it out because I don't want to get duped by a parody. A woman screaming that her rights are being taken away and then says, but I'm going to do the dishes. It's like, you screwing with us on this one? Yeah, I think so. And then we have, I think I have one more. This woman here, Libs of TikTok tweets. This woman mailed her period blood to the Supreme Court to protest the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I don't believe she did. In the TikTok video, she's seen bagging something, signing it, and saying, is this the life you're saving? Putting something in an envelope and mailing it to Brett Kavanaugh at the Supreme Court, and then showing a mailbox, but she never shows herself actually putting in. Now it doesn't matter in terms of the illegality of what she did. I don't believe she actually did this. It's all performative. Politics is pop culture outrage to get clicks. The left, this is it. You talk to a conservative, they're not going out and doing this. They're not burning things down. They're not throwing bricks at people. The left is doing it all for performative outrage so they can get more followers. Did you know that young women have extremely high rates of depression right now? The reason they believe is that on Instagram, they're trying to get more likes. And when they don't, they get depressed because their worth is based upon these numbers. This is why they do it. It riles people up and it drives them insane. And then politicians saying, whatever you say, go along with it. They are losing their minds. So there's this article, and I'll read it in another segment about the coming civil war, writes Stephen Marsh. And he's like, 80% of people agree with pro-choice. And it's just like, Stephen, you're so close. We had him on the show. We interviewed him. I respect him for coming on. And he's right on so much, but he's wrong on so much as well. And I told him it's because he's not reading the news. He's like, I do a lot of research. And I'm like, bro, you are simply getting your opinions regurgitated secondhand and then writing what you see. Because 80% of people do not agree with the left on this one. They're pro-choice, yes, but only up to the point of viability. The people who are talking about being pro-choice in these polls think overwhelmingly after like 12 or 14 weeks, you should not be able to get an abortion. You have to look at all of the polling data to see where people actually stand, not just ask them, do you agree with Roe v. Wade? In fact, Roe v. Wade talked about viability. That's why a lot of people agree with it. But a lot of people don't even know what the court case was about. Privacy rights. So these people, they make videos where they pretend to do things like, I really don't believe she actually mailed her period blood anywhere. Probably thinking, she didn't want to go to prison. Of course, the Postal Service is now going to have to investigate every single mailbox and in order to stop what may be biological terror. So, yeah, she committed a very serious federal crime. Numerous federal crimes, probably. We'll see if anything actually happens to her anyway. But it's all performative. SCOTUS has ruled the federal government has no authority over women's bodies, a huge win for liberals. Yeah, I'm being a little snarky, but let me wrap with this, and maybe we'll talk a bit more about this. I want to show you this from the readout. Companies covering some, all travel costs for abortions. Citi, Yelp, Amazon, Apple, Bumble, Levi's, Lyft, Starbucks, Zillow, Airbnb, PayPal, Disney, Bank of America, MasterCard, Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, Match, Dick's, Patagonia, JP Morgan, Reddit, Netflix, DoorDash. All of these companies will pay their employees costs if they want to get an abortion. You know why? It is cheaper than paternity leave. If you got an employee and you're paying her, $60,000 a year or something like that, and maternity leave is going to be, a month or 2 months, you're sitting there thinking like, what is this going to cost? $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000? How much for the abortion? $2,000? Done. Isn't that insane? I tweeted, Timcast will not be covering travel costs for employees seeking an abortion. Instead, we offer fully paid maternity and paternity leave at the employee's discretion. We trust them to take the time they need with their new children as long as that may be. Now, that means we may get people who exploit this company. There may be people who come here thinking like, I'm going to get hired, get pregnant, and then just dip out for as long as I want because Tim Pool trusts people. That's true. They may do that. But I do trust people, and we vet people. And the people that we hire here, we believe are here because they believe in something and they enjoy doing the work they do. So we have like unlimited vacation time, unlimited maternity and paternity leave, unlimited sick time. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. If you're sick, don't come here. Like, it's, like when you're a kid and your parents are like, you're anti-grounded, go outside and play. We're trying to sleep, something like that. Like we're napping. I don't know if you've ever had that. I remember when I was a kid, my parents would be like, get out of the house, go play. And we'd be like, yay. And then we'd like run out of the house, like anti-grounded. Don't come back until the street lights are coming on. The way I see it is the people who are here at Timcast working want to be here. They're not deciding to take maternity and paternity leave because they don't want to work and they're lazy. They're doing it because they have obligations to their families. And that comes before company. And I want to make sure that people who are working here feel like I believe in them too. Now, granted, we're not a very big company. We do have several dozen employees, and some stuff around this has come up. And I just say, let us know when you're good, and we're going to figure out how to keep working when you have to take care of your new family, because I think that's more important. I do. If we put family first as a company, as people, we will have a healthy society. We will have our values instilled in our children, and that is more important than writing an article about Brad Pitt's junk. No, I mean this seriously. There is no news article, no video to be made that is more important than someone's child being raised properly. So I tell people, like, within reason, we're just trying to work together. Like, bring your kids down. You got to watch them. You got to be in charge of your kids. I have no issue with that. We have people who are like, I don't know if I can make it, like for a special recording session or whatever, because we don't have, And I'm like, feel free to bring your kids, man. We love kids. Like, there's tons of people here who would love to watch them for you while you're working. I believe that you protecting and raising your children, your responsibility and family comes first. So that being said, I want to mention, I also said this isn't a new policy, but please allow me to tweet out this virtue signal. It used to be the left that was fighting for maternity and paternity leave. Now they're fighting for corporations to pay for women to kill their babies so that they can save money. What the? Blows my mind. Bro, I'm a liberal. I've always been. I don't know what the modern liberal or left is today. Someone said to me, yeah, Tim, well, what if they want to get an abortion? I'm like, that's their business. Then they can go to their doctor and they don't got to tell me anything about it. Their family choices, not mine. If they don't want to have a kid or not ready to have a kid or there's something in the way, I am not getting involved in that. I don't know. I don't think the government should either, because I'm actually classically pro-choice in the sense that, like, there's limitations on what I think the government can and would be involved in. And even conservatives have told me on Timcast IRL, there is a distinction between actual murder and an abortion, and they all agree. As much as some people, not everybody does. Not everybody does. I don't want to say everybody. But some people are like, there's a clear distinction. And they're trying to figure out how to deal with this. They don't like it. Anyway, look, I digress. We are in a nightmare dystopia of corporate capitalism where major corporations are like, it is cheaper for you to kill your baby than it is for us to pay for maternity leave. And what that means is, on the grand scale, capitalism is incentivizing the destruction of humanity. And that is why I am not in favor of laissez-faire capitalism. Sorry, this is what you get. Not that I think regulation solves this in any way. This is cultural decay. We need strong moral values. We need strong communal bonds. It is not just about unfettered markets or regulated markets. It's about what we as a people are willing to tolerate in our communities. And this I don't tolerate. But I'll tell you what, I ain't getting involved in that. I just say this. If someone here is like, hey, you know, my wife is pregnant, is going to have a kid, I'm going to need time off to help her. I'm going to say, whatever you want, just let us know when you're out. We'll find someone to fill in for you. No problem. If a woman here says that she's pregnant, she's going to have a kid, we're like, hey, do your thing, man. None of my business. All you got to do is tell us, and we are good, and we will find someone to fill in for you. No problem. In fact, do what you want to do. Some people might say, you know, I actually want to do a little bit of work. I think I can. I can't do a full load. You know, I'll do some remote stuff. I'll be in touch. I'm like, whatever you want. It's all on you. Come back when you're ready. There's no time limit, because I believe the people who do the work want to do the work. I believe that they're putting together videos, they're putting together podcasts, they're putting together news articles because they want to do it. Cool. Glad they're here. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.